Okay, if you look at the whiteboard, I have up here an equation because we have an equal sign. I know by looking at this equation it's linear because it's x to the first power. So if it's linear, we do not factor it, we do not square root it, we do not use the quadratic formula. To solve a linear equation, your goal is to get x on the left and all your numbers on the right. The problem is, if I look at this equation, it contains fractions, rational expressions, and it's a lot more difficult to start moving fractions than it is whole numbers. So I'm going to show you a magic trick. Anytime you have an equation, you can wipe out the fractions. Now, the way you wipe out the fractions is you use your common sense and think. The reason why 5/8 is a fraction is because you have this fraction bar, which means division. Well, we know we can wipe out division by doing the inverse operation, multiplication. So to wipe out a divide by 8, we would want to multiply by 8. To wipe out a divide by 6, we would want to multiply by 6. But now we have an issue. You can't multiply this side of the equation by 8 and this side of the equation by 6. It wouldn't be balanced. So if we're going to multiply, we have to multiply by the same number. And that number has a name you've heard, the LCD. So the first thing I need to do is know the least common denominator of 8 and 6. Now, a lot of you can do it in your head. You can think about your 8 times tables and your 6 times tables. And you should know the lowest number they have in common is not 48, it's 24. To review, if you forgot, we learned how to get the least common denominator back in many modules ago by factoring. If you can get your denominator into prime terms, you can find the least common denominator. So just to review, 8 is not prime. 8 is 4 times 2. 2 is prime, I'll circle it. 4 is not prime. It is 2 times 2. So we know 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. 6 is not prime. 6 is 2 times 3. Well, those are both prime, so we're done. To find the least common denominator after you're done factoring, you want to take the most of every prime term. So, who has the most? We have 3 2's, we have 1 2. Who has the most? Right here. So we need 3 2's. Who has the most? No 3's, 1 3. Well, we need the most. We need 1 3. And watch, if you multiply this out, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 3 is the 24. So don't forget that method. That's very important that we learn that. You can always use it. Now that we know our common denominator, we want an LCD of 24. We do not want to change these to 24s. We're trying to get rid of them. So we're going to do the opposite of division. We're going to do multiplication. So we're going to put parentheses, I'm multiplying by 24. Now, because this is an equation, we have to keep balance, which means every term has to be multiplied by 24. So 1 gets multiplied to 24, x gets multiplied to 24, and this 1/6 gets multiplied to 24. Think about it this way. If you were making a recipe and you had to triple the ingredients, would you just triple the eggs? You would have to triple all the ingredients to keep the cookie balanced. Well, that's what we're doing here. Now, this is what's great. This is red. 24 times 5 divided by 8. I heard multiplication and I heard division. What would be quicker? Would it be quicker to do 24 times 5? Or would it be quicker to do 24 divided by 8? Very good. Because mom and dad, multiplication and division are equal, we always do the division first to make the smaller number. So guys, look at me. You're going to say, well, how do I know the 24 is in the numerator? Well, if I write it as a fraction, isn't it 24 over 1? So that's why we multiply by the LCD. I'm putting it in the numerator. So I'm going to divide. I'm going to say 8 goes into 24 3 times. That would leave me now with 3 parentheses 5x. Voila, no more fraction. Over here, there is no bar for division. So this is just going to be 24 times 1. This term, there is no bar for division. So we're just going to write 24 times x. Over here, though, there is a division bar. So we're going to divide 6 into 24, and we're going to get 4. So we have negative 4, and in parentheses we have 1. So what I'm showing you is by using the least common denominator and multiplying it through to every term, you're wiping out the fractions because you're able to do division, and now you have a nice linear equation with all whole numbers. Well, now we're back to Algebra 1. So we're going to multiply. 3 times 5x is 15x. 24 times 1 is 24. 24 times x is 24x. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Here's your wall. Your job is to get your x's on the left. So I'm going to move the 24x by subtracting. 15 minus 24 would be negative 9x plus 24. These terms are additive inverses. They cancel out and make 0 equals negative 4. Now we got to move our numbers to the right. We always move addition and subtraction first. So we're going to subtract 24. We're going to get 9x. Additive inverses cancel out and make 0. Both of these numbers are negative, so we'd add them and get negative 28. But we're not done. X is not isolated. So now we're going to do division of negative 9. A negative divided by a negative makes a positive 1x. Over here, we cannot leave negative 28 over negative 9. A negative over a negative is still a positive. The problem is you cannot reduce 28/9 because they do not have a factor in common. So that would be your solution, your answer to this equation. Okay, let's practice that. Come back to the next module. I'll see you then.